So, what brings you here today?
Well, I didn't really want to go here today, but my wife told me that she's tired of my attitude and the way that I look at things. She says I have a negative outlook,
Mm-hmm.
and so she said, you know, I really should see some professional help because she really thinks I have a negative outlook on pretty much everything. And I don't know, I call it being realistic, but I have noticed other people around me have said that I'm really negative, and I don't know. That's pretty much why I'm here. I'm trying to better myself, and I just don't know what else to do. I want my relationship to work out. We've been married for 5 years, and she's saying that she's really frustrated and tired of my behavior or my attitude. So that's why I'm here today, pretty much, just to maybe see if there's anything I could do to better myself, or the way I think, or the way I have I guess basically to have a better outlook on my life.
Okay, so you feel obligated to come here because your wife is making you come here, and also you want to possibly gain a more positive outlook on your life from this experience. Is that?
Yeah, it's not so much that she says I have to go here, but I care about her and I want to be here because things aren't really changing. When I try to, just ignore things, and so, um, I thought I should. To be fair, I thought I should, do something to just let things ride like they've been going.
Mm-hmm. So, is there anything else, or what are your expectations in the future from this session?
Well, I really don't have any expectations. I really don't. I didn't like the idea of going to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and I just never saw myself in that situation. I don't think I really need one. I think that I think some people are just more realistic than others. But yet, when you're realistic, some people misuse that term for being depressed or being negative. I don't really think that way. I think that my attitude is just fine. I think that life is kind of negative when you look at it. We have to do things, we see things all the time, and I think some people choose to see those things and process it as they really are. And other people tend to look away and try not to focus on it. They don't really put too much thought in it, and they just think, they try to forget things they see. Whereas someone like myself, I will analyze things, and when I do that and I take a closer look, and I express myself about them, people will say I'm really negative. And it does. I notice that it does have an effect on some of my friendships and our relationship right now. And but yeah, I really don't. I don't think I'm a negative person. I think that's just the way life is.
You believe that your realistic views appear negative to other people, and so you don't feel that it is negative. So
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I see the world the way it is, or at least the way I perceive it, and I think it's unfair that some people just automatically assume I'm being negative. Well, so be it. If that's being negative, I call it being myself. They might call it being negative, but I call it being myself. That's just the way I see it. I don't try to judge people on the way they think or the way they perceive things. If my perception is negative, then that's something I really can't help. I mean, if I see a dog get hit by a car, I see a dog get hit by a car. I don't think, oh well, it was meant to happen, and life goes on. I see things the way they are. Now, other people might say that's negative, but I just call it being realistic.
mm,
Um, and when I start engaging in conversation with people, or they ask me how my day went, or just ask me questions about myself, I have noticed that people will, kind of shy away, or I've been told in the past, wow, you really seem negative, or do you suffer from depression? And I'll say, well, why do you ask? And they say, well, because you seem to have a really negative outlook on life.
so you feel that your realistic views are what you normally see, and other people you feel a little bit confused because other people believe that you're being negative when you're actually seeing reality. So does it? So is that what you're a little bit confused about? You think that what you're seeing is what everybody should see?
Right. I mean, I don't think that I have blinders on when I look at the world. Uh, even something as simple as eating a meal, I think about the suffering that went behind that meal. I think about the animal that got slaughtered and killed, and other people are thinking, well, they don't think that much into it. They just see a hamburger in front of them, but I see the bigger picture. I think what did it take to get this hamburger into my hands? I just see the cow getting slaughtered, and, so to speak. And people ask me, well, why do you not want to eat meat? Why are you a vegetarian, or why are you trying to be a vegetarian? And I just tell them that, and they just think, well, you're so negative, and this is what it's for. This is what food is here for you to eat. These are why animals are here. Or why don't you like your job? Well, I don't like my job. Well, do you really want to hear why I don't like my job? I'll tell them, and they say sure. And when I tell them, they just say, wow, you should be thankful you have a job, and I'm thankful I have a job, but I just I see the bigger picture. I know it's a hierarchy of stepping stones, and really I don't know how to say it. It's really one of those scenarios where you have to fake it to make it, and I just don't really enjoy that. Being part of my day, the hypocrisy that goes along with keeping my job, making sure that you not only it's not just about doing your responsibilities. It's about having to pretend to like your boss when he's being unfair to you, or when your fellow employees are being unfair. And what do I mean by unfair? I mean somebody doesn't want to go to work because they have to go to their daughter's dance recital. So when I get off with the overtime to do that, it's not really being offered to me. It's more like being told to me, like, I need to do this. My boss might ask me, can you do this, or would you mind doing this? So he's trying to phrase it to me like a question, but I really don't have a choice in it, because if I say no, I'm going to get looked at negatively the next week, or they're going to try to say I'm not really a team player, or yet my fellow employees who kind of kiss up to the boss, I notice that they get preferential treatment. Now, some people might say, "Oh, you're reading too much into that. How do you know?" Well, that's true. I can tell it's true. One of the guys on my team, they got promoted, and they've been there a year less than I have, and they do half the work that I do. And every time I try to call my boss when it's on his day off, I notice that he's playing golf, and I only to find out the week later he was playing it with one of the employees who's never on the job for overtime and never doing his responsibilities. I feel like I'm always having to pick up the slack for people when I work, and but, I can't really tell that to anybody, or if I do, they just think, well, gee, you should be happy you have a job. My wife says the same thing. She says, well, what can you do? That's unfortunately the way things are sometimes, and welcome to reality. Things aren't always fair, and I know that, but when I point out that things aren't always fair, I'm just basically talking, because they're asking me what my day was like or how it's gone, and when I share with them that, they think, wow, you're really negative. And I'm like, well, hey, you asked me how I felt, you asked me the question, why ask me that? If you want my honest feeling and honest opinion, then I give it to you, and then you say, well, you don't like it, well, then don't ask me. That's not my fault, that's just the way I feel, that's the way I interpret things. It's not really the way I feel, that's the way how it is.
Right, so you feel judged by having these emotions, these stronger emotions and passions towards things like animals and towards work, and you feel that maybe your supervisor and coworkers are also judging you based on your emotions, or just what you think is supposed to be realistic.
Yeah,
to
I can't help the way I see things, and I can't see something and then turn right back around and lie about it. So when somebody asks me how my day went, I think, and I perceive myself as telling them the truth, how my day went. Well, it's up to them. I mean, it's them telling me that I'm being negative, or I guess that's how they interpret it. But I'm just telling them what happened. Now, I'm sorry if they think it's negative, but that's the way I see things. But people might say, well, you're looking at it all wrong, or that you're seeing things all wrong. Well, I don't think I'm seeing things all wrong. I'm just factually telling them what happened, or how things are going on in my job. And but nobody likes to be around somebody negative. Well, like I said, I don't think I'm being negative. I'm just being realistic about my day's events.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like what they hear, then they shouldn't ask me the question. I always thought myself as being a good person. I don't look at people and try to lie to them. I try to tell them the truth. I've always been somebody that, people would ask me their opinion about things, and